You know it's time to take charge of your health. You need to be getting stronger, pushing your limits, and fueling your body right. So, what's holding you back? In this episode, we're tackling all the excuses that keep us from giving it our all. Get ready to challenge yourself, break through the barriers, and join me as we build, fight, protect, and lead. This is the Patriarchy.
Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser.
Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind, soul and strength, and serve the King of Kings. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where His feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise up, O men of God.
Welcome back to the Patriarchy Podcast. I am here with actually my one of my most recent guests. America's Strongest Man was the name of the episode, and it was with Anthony Diehl. Anthony Diehl is a father to 3 kids, a husband. He is a professional bodybuilder, a strongman, practices Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, contest prep, and he's a strength and lifestyle coach. That's what he does for a living. He's also a member of All Saints Church in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And the episode I had him on, I was just telling him, has gotten a lot of downloads, has gotten a lot of attention. And so I thought it'd be very good to have him back on. And towards the end of our interview, we'll have a special announcement for you that you'll want to stay tuned for. So anyways, Anthony, welcome back to the show.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, last time we kind of covered the gamut of talking about physical health and physical fitness and the care for the body. You gave a lot of good practical advice regarding that. I'm sure we'll get more of that today. But what I thought would be helpful is kind of a follow-up from the last episode is, now that everybody's heard that, okay, yeah, we know you maybe should get good health and all that, and be strong. Men should be strong. But man, I've got a lot of reasons why that's not for me. Okay. I got a lot of reasons why that's good general, but I have a lot of excuses for why I can't do that. And so, Anthony, I want you to help me get through my excuses.
Let's do it.
All right, Anthony, here it is. I understand how important health and physical fitness is, but I just don't have, you can guess it.
Time.
The time.
Yeah. Show me your screen time. That's what I'm going to say first and foremost. Show me your screen time. And the simple fact is everybody can carve out a little bit of time. I think what happens in our day and age is when somebody decides to commit to do something, they're going to Google that thing, and then social media and the internet is going to push to you the top performers in that thing. And so a guy decides to go to the gym and he looks at a pro bodybuilder or a pro strongman. And I run into this issue all the time when I am trying to encourage and exhort people towards health and physical fitness. I say all the time, you do not need to do what I do. This is simply a hobby. The bar for physical fitness is incredibly low. Get 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And what that looks like for a sedentary person is walking for like 30 to 40 minutes. And you don't even need to do it all at once. You could walk 10 minutes after each meal. You know, those little tips of park further away when you go to the grocery store, right? So there's your movement. Just be intentional to move. Okay, you got your movement covered. You're telling me you can't carve out 45 minutes of your day, 3 days a week to pick up something heavy. If you don't want to join a gym, that's fine. Go invest and get some TRX straps and a pull-up bar and do some push-ups and squats. You could do it in the comfort of your own home. And so time is certainly not an excuse that I will buy. I coach all sorts of people from every demographic and background and socioeconomic status. And I've got single moms working 2 jobs and change, they find time. If it's important to you, you will find the time.
I want to piggyback on the walking thing. So I started the 10,000 steps about, I don't know, it's been about 5 months ago. And actually my productivity as far as like everything else has increased because you can do a lot while walking. Now I have the advantage of being a pastor and I make my own schedule and I do a lot of work from home, but I do a lot of my work walking. You can make phone calls, call your parishioners or your clients. You can, I have written sermons by walking and recording them into my phone. And so,
Absolutely.
walking is very good.
Oh, absolutely. I use it a lot of times as my prayer and devotional time. So I live out in the country. It's gorgeous right now in the summertime. And I have an hour-long loop that I walk, and it's just in the middle of farms and farm country. And I will listen to my Bible app and pray. And, sometimes I'm out there walking in the afternoons and I'm listening to some audiobooks and getting ideas for content that I want to do and replying to clients and taking calls. My walks are incredibly productive. And yes, you're right. You and I both have jobs that allow us the flexibility, but more and more people are working from home. And so that is the case for a lot of people. You can make the time if you want to do it.
All right. Well, I still don't know if I have enough time, but I know I also don't have enough money.
Well, it turns out that walking is free. Push-ups are free. Yeah, I hear this one a lot. And a big one, especially regarding good nutrition, right? Well, I can't afford to buy all organic. I can't afford to shop at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or Wegmans or wherever it is that, well, I don't shop there either. Sometimes I'll stop into those places. I need to do a video of this. I keep saying it. I've been saying it for years, but I want to go downtown to the sketchiest grocery store that I can find in the middle of the city and walk in there and just demonstrate, hey, frozen veggies are cheap. You can get a lot of nutrients in frozen veggies. If you can't afford fresh, get frozen. It's better than canned. You can go to Aldi and get giant bags of chicken breast and chicken tenderloins for like $7.99 for like the whole bag. Rice is super cheap. Get jars of all natural peanut butter. It's calorie dense. Be mindful of it. It's a fat source, not a protein source, but get natural peanut butter, get fruits, right? Get your protein, get potatoes. Potatoes are cheap. You can buy 50-pound bags of potatoes for next to nothing. And so I just don't buy it's too cost prohibitive. Go stack that up against your TV dinners and your ice cream bars and your soda and your junk food and your daily Starbucks run or whatever else that you do. You can find the time. I'll never make the argument that eating healthy is somehow cheaper. It's not. There might have to be some sacrifices, but a lot of people eat way too much, eat out way too much. I think the average American eats out like 4 times a week, which is nuts. I know if I run the numbers on that for an average family that has, I have 3 kids. You can barely, get away with going to Five Guys for under $100 for 5 people, right? And so, it's certainly health and fitness is not cost prohibitive because you don't need a gym membership. You can 100% work out from the comfort of your home with body weight.
It might be helpful to think about the costs that come by not doing it.
Well. That's right. Yeah. Think about what is your medication cost, right? At some point you're going to pay, I have good insurance. Do you? What is it going to cost when you're older and you need in-home care, right, for preventable diseases? And you need to buy wheelchairs and all of your, what if you become diabetic and you need insulin? What if these costs, you're paying at some point. You're going to pay. Nothing in life is free. You will pay one way or the other.
Okay, man, you're getting rid of my excuses, but man, I don't want to be a power lifter.
Then don't be. In fact, I would argue that powerlifting is for the married man with kids and somebody who's not writing their own schedule, I admonish young men all the time who come to me who want to do bodybuilding, especially if they have young kids or newly married. I say, don't do it. They're like, what? If you're going to do it well, I'm the type of person, if I'm going to do something, I'm going all the way in. I want to be the best at that thing that I can possibly be. So I'm not going to dabble. I'm not a dabbler. You could do powerlifting or train like a powerlifter and manage your time well. You cannot do bodybuilding well if you have a wife and kids and are working a 9 to 5. Something will give, and if you're going to do bodybuilding well, it's going to be your family time, and that's just the simple reality of it. So I encourage men not to do bodybuilding if they are married with children. If you're newly married and don't have kids on the way yet, and it's you and your wife hanging out all the time, you might be able to make a case for that. But the only way that I was able to do bodybuilding was because I make my own schedule and we homeschool our kids, and I see them so much here that, and I could argue as well that this is my profession. And so in many ways, me going in to the gym and training and things like that affects, my vocation. But for most people, it's too time consuming. You don't need to be a powerlifter. You don't need to be a bodybuilder. You simply need to move some hard things, pick some stuff up that's heavy, put it back down, create resilience.
So you're saying there's a middle between fat and lazy and obese and jacked, like
absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. The sign of physical fitness is capability to execute your duties and responsibilities well. If you go out of breath checking the mail, you are not fit to protect your family. And that's sinful, and you need to repent of that and go fix it. You don't need a 400-pound bench press, and you don't need abs. That's overrated. If you are like me and you don't like to dabble, and you are the type of person who likes to have a goal, if you're going to do something, fine, then maybe do some kind of powerlifting or set up a goal. Hey, I'm going to compete in this push-pull meet, or I'm going to do this thing, or I'm going to enter this contest and try and, lose X number of pounds before this date. I'm that way. I like to operate off of goals, but you don't need to do that. That is not what is required for physical fitness.
Well, I'm also too old.
No such thing. Let me dispel my favorite one. And this myth is still floating out there. Well, once you turn 40, your metabolism slows down and you'll start to learn then. Nope. Science has proven you wrong, and it's simply not true. Metabolism doesn't slow down until you're close to your 60s. But what's cool is we also know that you can gain strength into your 80s. I have worked out with and trained with 84-year-old men. There was a guy who used to come to our gym when I lived in Kentucky. He was like 84 when he started powerlifting, because the doctor was like, hey, your cholesterol's high. This is going on. Your bones are weak and fragile. So he decided to start coming to the gym, and I'll never forget, he did his first powerlifting meet at 86 and deadlifted like 286. And then at 87, he deadlifted 315. It was awesome. Everybody loved watching this dude come in, right? Because he was like, I'm going to get after it, even at this late stage of the game. It's 2024. We have so much data around nutrition and recovery and quality training practices and how to mitigate injuries and rehab and everything else. I work with so many guys who are in their mid-50s getting into the best shape of their life. Realistically, the 50s now, if you want it to be in 2024, the 50s are like the new 30s. Like, you are coming into your prime. I know so many 50-year-old guys who would absolutely run circles around the 20-year-old version of me. Now, with that age does come, recovery needs are longer. Protein needs are higher. I mean, even at my age, I'm only 37, but I have a lot of miles on my body from years of strongman. And so I train 4 days a week now. I don't train 5 days a week in the gym. I don't train 6 days a week in the gym. I do something every day. Today was an off day. I just walked for an hour. It wasn't hard. I just walked outside for an hour, got my steps in. I train 4 days a week, and I am making good progress there. And some weeks I only train 3 days a week. So recovery needs will change as you get older, but this idea that you're too old is just a complete excuse and a complete fallacy. Give me a man who wants to change. Give me a man who's 100 pounds overweight, 55 years of age, who does what I say. And by the time he is 57, I will have him in the best shape of his life.
What about if I'm too sick, or I'm got too many health issues?
Yeah, well, that's a real one, right? So what if you are 58, you've been dealing with diabetes for 30 years, you're 150 pounds overweight and your knees ache and you have sleep apnea, you're exhausted all the time. Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. There is still hope for that person, and I would say that they need to double down. Now, the way they do that is not by immediately joining a gym, going 5 days a week. They're not going to be able to sustain that. They're going to get hurt and it's going to be miserable. And so that is the person. I love working with these type of people. I have a few like this right now. We start out with baby steps. And literally I know some guys that are so heavy that after about 10 minutes, their knees start aching. And our goal is, hey, you need to walk for 10 minutes in a row, twice a day. And then next week, we're going to 11 minutes. I don't care if it hurts. Like I always tell my clients, we never push through pain. You don't get cool points for pushing through pain, but we always push through discomfort. Now that line, sometimes people can't, if they've never pushed themselves truly, they don't know where that line is, right? They think, oh, I feel this ache. That's not good. I need to stop. And it's like, no, pain is sharp, stabbing, piercing, maybe electrical kind of pulsating feelings. We don't push through that. Stop that. But if you're just achy and sore, you keep moving. Your joints are stiff, you keep moving. And so it's baby steps. We'll work them up. I will slowly begin to work on their diet. We will triage, get their blood work, look at their medical issues. And hey, what is the thing that is upstream of all of this? Let's target that first and see if by fixing that, what are these downstream things come into line? So we tackle one problem at a time. It takes longer, but I don't care. If you can walk, you can change. Even if you can't walk and you're wheelchair bound, you control what you put in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of what I put in my mouth, I just get too hungry to diet all the time.
Well, I would challenge you to look at the types of foods you're eating, because this happens all the time when I write clients' meal plans for diets. In fact, I ran into one of my girls I train locally. I don't do any in-person training anymore, but I have plenty of clients local. I was at the gym and I ran into her and I'm like, hey, Kristen, how you doing? And we're talking, and she's on a diet and she needs to lose a bit of weight. And I put her in a pretty significant calorie deficit. And I mean, I'm talking, she might be eating 1,500 calories. And she's like, I am so stuffed. I cannot finish meal 4. She's like, I don't understand it though. She was like, I was routinely eating like 2,400 calories. Well, I can tell you why. Because it is so easy to go put down 2,000 calories of highly palatable junk food. I could do it effortlessly right now with a Big Mac, a large fry, and a Coke. Done. Easy. Now, go make 2,000 calories of chicken breast, potatoes, and vegetables. Have fun. Try to finish that in one sitting. You're not doing it. It's miserable. It's a ton of food. And so look at your food quality. Your food quality really matters there. When you eat real whole foods, it's actually a lot of volume and it satiates you for longer and you feel better and you don't feel like garbage after you eat it.
Yeah, that's something I have discovered. So counting calories, like go to Taco Bell and you eat hardly anything and you're already like, this is half my calories for the day.
That's right. I almost don't like going out to eat simply because I like food so much and don't like the feeling of hunger. I'm like, I'm not eating junk food because I'll be hungry in 40 minutes and then I don't have my calories left. Now I will also say this. I wrote an article today on my Substack and it's talking about, at some point, people are going to feel hungry in a diet, depending on how far you go with it. And that's good. That's okay. It's okay to feel hungry. And I think most Americans have never truly felt what hunger actually is. And I think it's good to learn to push through and not just give in to the first urge you have to satisfy that desire. Like, you're hungry? Good. I mean, that's the point of fasting, is all of a sudden these physical needs rise up and you are going to discipline yourself and suppress those needs and devote yourself to prayer and almsgiving and whatever, to say, I am concerned with my spiritual needs right now over the physical. And so I think simultaneously, no, if you're dieting correctly, you shouldn't be hungry all the time. And also, if you're hungry because you're dieting, that's okay.
Well, you're knocking most of my excuses right out, but this is all great and all, but man, spiritual things are the things that matter most.
Oh, somebody's misquoting 1 Timothy. I love it. Let me introduce you to the a fortiori argument. I just wrote an article about this on Facebook, or a post. This one is used all the time as if, and I think maybe it's because of how it's worded sometimes, specifically in the King James, and I think the NASB, the way that it says it is that physical training is of some value. But it's really important to understand the type of argument that Paul is using here is from the greater, is what it means in the Latin. In other words, he's comparing two things. And so he's saying, if this is good, his assumption is that bodily training is good. It's a net good. And everyone knows that and understands that. And if you're familiar with the writing of the Apostle Paul, he uses a runner, a boxer, a soldier, a fighter. He's very visceral with his illustrations. And he says, this is a good thing. And if this is a good thing, how much more? So if Paul actually thought bodily training didn't matter, he would not have used that as the foundation of his comparative argument there. So you can't use that verse to say that Paul thinks bodily training doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's that it does matter. And since it does, if the things of caring for your body here matters, how much more your soul, which is eternal. So how much more should we spend?
That's right.
In what do you call it? Exercising our heart, exercising our soul with God's word, prayer, focusing on eternal things.
That's
but
right.
You have to live out your faith in the world that God created. When we're saved, we're not taken into the third heavens like
That's right.
the Apostle Paul. We're here, and you have to live it out. And one of the things that God's been showing me as a pastor is that my work as a pastor, which is caring for souls, is so much better when I am caring for my body and my health. Like when I don't eat well and I don't sleep well, or I'm not exercising, I get lazy, I get lethargic. I don't think as clearly when it comes to preaching, and
you're simply not the best version of yourself.
Yeah. And if I'm going to preach and encourage and exhort, I want to be strong. Now, obviously, here's another excuse. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Paul says that he doesn't boast in his strength. He boasts in his weakness. So should we isn't that what we're supposed to do? Be weak?
No, I don't think that at all. I think when Paul is saying that, I think he's also referencing there the thorn in the flesh, whatever ailment it was that he was afflicted with, is he understands that the arm of his strength only extends so far. And so when he is weak, when he is incapable, it is just at that point that the Lord upholds him. But he, again, is not saying, well, therefore we just need to be weak. Let go and let God, right? You don't pray for a hole while leaning on a shovel. That's not how that works, right? And so, no, I don't think that's what he's saying at all.
All right. Well, these are all good, but I really just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Well, the wonderful thing is the internet. Now you can type in workouts and whatever else, and you get some information overload. The first thing is to just start. If you're not walking, walk. Go for a walk. Okay, get that baseline, 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day. Start there. Start there and build that as a habit into your life. And so what I mean by that is get 3 weeks in a row of not missing. And then we'll consider that habit layered. That's what I do with some of my clients who have never tracked food in their life, have never cared about health, is I do what's called a habit stacking approach. And we have a list of good habits that we need to build into the life. And we focus on the good first before the negative. Because when you establish all the good habits, one, you get the emotional wins of, hey, I'm doing the right things that move me towards my goal. And then two, when you layer in a bunch of good habits, there's going to be some natural displacement of bad habits. Not all of them are going to go away, but some of them will go away. I once worked with a client who was drinking 2 liters of Mountain Dew per day. And that's insane. And I said, hey, man, you can keep drinking 2 liters of Mountain Dew. I don't even care, but you need to drink a gallon of water. Okay. Unless you want to live in the bathroom, naturally, he committed to drinking that water. That greatly reduced his Mountain Dew. Now, his Mountain Dew consumption was still too high. And eventually we had to come back and say, okay, let's bring that down even more. Let's bring that down to 2 cans a day. Okay, cool. Let's bring that down to a can a day. Hey, man, let's bring that down to like a couple times a week. Like, that's a lot of sugar. Okay. And so we took steps to get there, right? But we got there.
All right. Well, I think you have nailed all my excuses. What have I missed any that you usually hear?
No, I think you hit them all pretty well. Usually it's I don't know what to do. Oh, and I didn't mention, as far as physical training goes, you can just Google calisthenics programs to do at home. Start doing bodyweight squats, start doing push-ups, buy a pull-up bar. If you can't do pull-ups, which you probably can't if you've never done them, use bands to help you. Hire a personal trainer, hire a coach, right? Those are investments into your future self. No, I think you nailed all the excuses that
Oh, hey, I get too sore, man. It just makes me sore. And
Good.
It makes it too hard to do other stuff.
Good. That's why then we need to focus on your protein intake so you recover well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about out of excuses.
No. And then I just I quote what chapter verse? Quit you like a man.
Yes. Well, as we've worked through the excuses, I'm sure somebody out there has a list of 10 that we didn't get to.
That's right.
But
here's one. I did think of one. Okay. Well-meaning dudes. Well, it's going to take away from my family time. I already work a lot, and I come home, and I don't want to. Okay, cool. Get up earlier. 3 times a week to do some physical training. Get up earlier. Or as your kids get older, make it a part of family time. Right? My kids are getting older now, and so I bring them to the gym a lot. Sunday mornings before church early. Sometimes we'll get up and go for walks. Or I'll take them on Saturday. My son and I do jiu-jitsu together on Saturdays. Make physical fitness and healthy living a part of your family's life. Do it together.
Yep. I've been bringing my children with me to the Y.
Wonderful.
They love to come. Yep. Well, as we've covered these excuses, there's another reason I had you on the podcast today, was because I want to get out that we're announcing that you're going to not only be on video, but in person live at the first hopefully of many the Patriarchy Conference. And so excited to announce to all my listeners, we are having a conference November 8th and 9th. It's in Jeffersonville, Indiana. We will have a link in the show notes to where you can sign up. Early subscription is, not subscription, but registration, early bird is $50. And that's up through September 30th. After that, it goes up to $70. But Anthony Diehl is going to be speaking on this particular topic. Maybe give just a 30-second sneak preview of what you're going to.
Yeah, sure. So the idea here, becoming the best man with your health and fitness. So I kind of want to survey the current state. Like, why are we even having this conversation at all? How did we get here, in other words? Because this is not a topic of conversation that our great-grandfathers would have even recognized. Why are we in the state in our world where we've got plummeting testosterone levels, almost half of people are obese, and the top 5 diseases that are killing people are preventable? How did we get here? And do we have any control over that? Hint, we do. 2, we're going to look at the role of men as protector and how that is a God-ordained role for husbands and fathers, and that in order to do that, that means you have some kind of martial virtue. And then if you have some kind of martial virtue, that assumes some level of physical fitness. And so I'm just going to look at what the scripture has to say about that, the examples that we see in scripture, and then I will tie that together with some practical exhortations of things that people can go and do that day so that they can start down that path to taking control of their health and fitness.
Nice. Well, as you just mentioned, I didn't tell everybody the kind of the, it's called the Patriarchy Conference, but the subtitle or the theme is Becoming the Best Man Your Wife and Children Have Ever Known. And so, again, Mr. Diehl here is going to talk about becoming the best man with your physical health and fitness. We're going to have a couple other speakers talking about our spiritual health and then laying out the theme. And in fact, we'll be in this particular episode interviewing the other speakers as well, going through the excuses for why you can't level up in the other areas of your life. So, well, brother, I am very excited about it. Again, November 8th and 9th, early registration is only $50. Listen, this is a cheap conference. I've looked at a lot of costs on conferences, and they can get pretty expensive. But you're going to get good speaking, good topics, good lectures. You're going to get some good fellowship with men. You're going to get an opportunity as part of this conference to do some ministry. At our church, we love to do outdoor ministry. We're going to have an opportunity to do that together in the morning on that Saturday, and just other good things that we'll announce as we get closer to the event. So make your plans, get registered. I'll have the link in the show notes, and come meet America's Strongest Man. Are you sick of feminism and its rotten fruit on display all around you? So are we. Are you tired of your home and family life suffering? Okay, so what are you going to do about it? Complain on the internet? Sure, just stay angry and passive. Let your wife and children struggle. When misery sets in, you can blame the culture for your marriage woes, just as feminists blame the patriarchy for their problems. Nah, don't be like them. Choose a better path. Become the best man your wife and children have ever known. Lead with strength and compassion. Take responsibility. Live for the glory of God. Provide your wife the security to flourish in her God-given femininity, and your children a foundation to grow in the Lord. You were born into this feminist age. Yes, you were born in a rapidly feminist generation. But that was no accident. You were put into this chapter of human history by the deliberate design of your Heavenly Father. You were made to build, fight, protect, and lead. You were made for the patriarchy. Join us at the Patriarchy Conference. Become the best man your wife and children have ever known. November 8th and 9th, 2024. Embrace your calling. Transform your family. Impact the world. Registration is open now. Type in early bird to get $20 off your registration.